All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. It is 3 minutes after the hour. Welcome to Fueling Your 2026 Growth, Skimmer's 2025 highlights and what's coming next. I am your hostess, Nikki Acosta, and I have some panelists here with me today. But first, let's get through our obligatory About Skimmer slide. Look, we're here to help you build a great business. And the way that we do that is through amazing software, fantastic support, uh, events, our community, our webinar programming, resources, guides, all the things that we do are here to help your business grow. So thank you so much for being here. And I want to just quickly run through my co-presenters. I'm really honored today. We've got members of our leadership team. We've got Andrew Wilcox, who's our VP of Product, and we've got Brian Yell, VP of Corporate Development and Partnerships, who's going to be here to talk to you guys about what we're doing around APIs and integrations, which is pretty exciting. Uh, we're going to get through a little bit about kind of where we've been and how we're thinking about 2026, how we thought about 2025. We're going to show you some of the features that we launched this year and some newer things that you might have missed. We're going to get deep into APIs and integrations and give you a sneak peek at the end into some really cool stuff that we're working on for the very, very near future so that you can start to prepare to implement these new features into your plans for the coming year. I want to be clear here, and I just want to make it explicit that we are going to share a lot today that is forward-looking. And our goal in this is to be transparent with you and let you know what's coming so that you can plan and prepare. But all of the things that we're talking about today in terms of forward-looking things are subject to change. Again, this is about transparency. There's times where we're going to be able to pull things up. There's going to be other times where things are going to get pushed back. There's going to be times where things get reprioritized as we listen to your feedback and we go to, investigate and explore and design some of these features. So thanks for any grace, and don't hold us to these exact dates if they don't make it. So let's get right into it. I'm going to turn it over to Andrew here to talk about kind of what we've been working on in terms of stuff in the background that you may not know about. And so, Andrew, I will turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nikki. And as everyone can tell, we've trained Nikki very well to speak to the roadmap in very risk mitigated ways where we can hedge and say like maybe the thing will hit, maybe the thing won't hit. But no, in all honesty, again, as Nikki said, the goal here is to be very transparent about, not only the things that we've done to invest in the team and how the team and the platform are changing, but also to be very transparent about what's on the roadmap and what's coming. So first up, I think the thing that we should really speak to is just what has changed in terms of the R&D, or as we say, the GSD team here at Skimmer. And so, um, you know, um, since the beginning of the year, we've dramatically increased the level of investment between product management, engineering, and our design disciplines here at Skimmer. And so at the beginning of the year, we started off with two teams, right? Two pods, approximately 12 people across those two pods, building features, fixing bugs, launching new products here at Skimmer. Today, where we sit is we have six teams, right? And more, just around 40 people on the teams across product management, engineers, and designers. Those six teams are what are seeing in front of you. And so we have now specific and dedicated teams for each discipline on the platform. Um, the pictures that you're seeing, along with the names, are the product managers that lead those teams. And so why that is important is that if you have feedback for us about field services, whether it's scheduling, jobs, work orders, or financial services, or our data and reports, those names that you're seeing in front of you are the people that you want to reach out to with that feedback, or if you have questions or anything that of the like. And so I think we'll follow up also with in the recording, we can follow up with our emails. We're very open to having conversations with customers. The customer feedback is essential and critical into everything that we're building. And so we would love if you have feedback, you have questions, you have ideas to engage with you all. And so, yeah, I think the other thing to add here is that with six teams now and almost 40 people on our R&D organization, um, what that means for you as our customers is that we're going to be able to deliver more value, right? So hopefully over the last few months, everyone has felt that swell, that groundswell of new features, new capabilities, new products, and that will continue going into next year. We'll only continue to get faster. We'll continue to get better at the things that we do, and we'll continue to listen to our customers and make sure that we're driving the right the right investments in the right areas based on y'all's feedback. And so I'm really excited about not only the progress that we've made this year in terms of growing the team and the value now that we're able to deliver, but I'm also very excited about looking into next year and what that means for not only us as a team, but you as our customers. And so I think that should be very exciting for everyone.
And I'll just add a note too, part of the growth, and this is a result of the investment that we took earlier this year. It's not just our product engineering teams that are scaling. We're scaling support, we're scaling our customer success managers, our account managers, the people that you talk to when you call Skimmer. We're scaling those teams too and investing heavily to make sure that you have a good experience and that we have folks who can pick up the phone and absolutely delight you and get you quick answers to your questions. So this has been kind of across the board. Certainly bringing in Brian and having an integrations team is also something that is new for us, but it should lead to really great things down the road. And with some of the things that we're going to talk about today, there might be things here that you don't need. Great. There might be things that you didn't know about. Awesome. Our goal is to listen to our customers and deliver what they're asking for. So keep that in mind as we move along here. Andrew, talk to us about the investments that we made that are kind of under the hood.
Yeah, so this is typically an area where our CTO, Evan Fort, will come in and speak to, but I'm happy to do it since he's not here today. And so, on top of the investment we're making in terms of the people and adding new teams and scaling those teams, we're also making significant investments in the infrastructure of the platform. And so, when we speak to uptime, when we speak to the quality of the platform, and reducing bugs and making sure that the app is available and it works in the ways that you all expect it to work, barring, half the internet going out, we do everything in our power to make sure that we are investing in those areas as well. And so you can see a few key areas listed on the screen where we've made investments in the last year, including new monitoring. You can also see that now we have a status page that is available for everyone. It's publicly available. So if you scan that QR code or if you go to status.getskimmer.com, you'll be able to see that anytime that there's an incident that we are tracking, we will make sure that we're publishing information about that incident, how long it's going to take us to resolve it, what the problem was, and ultimately what the resolution was. And so again, this is just another investment in being very transparent with our customers about the platform and the availability of the platform. So again, exciting changes, and I think something that a number of customers have been asking us for, and we're responding.
So now we're going to get into the juicy stuff and the slide that everybody's going to want to screenshot, surely. Uh, Andrew, tell us about our focus areas and let's talk about the roadmap.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get into the roadmap. And so first, we'll start off with these focus areas. And so these focus areas are really important because when I joined the company January of last year, these were some of the key areas where when I went out and interviewed customers, when I looked at a lot of the feature requests, when we talked about some of the pain points of the platform, these were the areas that continued to come up, right? And so, as a whole, customers were asking us to invest in areas in improving invoicing and payments, making sure that there were more detailed reporting and the ability to export reports and be able to cut and slice and dice the data in any way that you'd want. Continuing to improve the way that you're engaging with your customers, the pool owners themselves, and making sure not only we're delivering things like customer portal, but ways to better message with your pool owners. And then, jobs and repairs was a big hot topic one of how can we better represent and better have or create a better workflow around more complex either service or repair items or jobs that we then launched this feature, jobs to make sure that we could accommodate for. And then obviously Brian and our integrations team is now here because we are heavily investing in APIs. We're heavily investing in making sure that Zapier. I do this every time, and Brian always corrects me. And, I feel like everyone
Zapier
does it.
makes you happier.
Zapier.
That's how you remember it.
Zapier makes you
Zapier.
happier. We're investing in Zapier and making sure that we have that as an integration solution as well. And then lastly, the admin alerts. And so making sure that, as business owners, as admins at a pool service company, that you're making sure that you have real-time alerting, real-time data. Some of these things we have obviously launched this year. Some of these things are coming in early next year. But for the most part, I think we've hit on features or enhancements or new products in every single one of these categories of this year, and we'll continue to do that going into next year. And so these were really key in driving some of the investment areas and some of the new initiatives that we've launched this year. So that's just the context there.
And so here's the screenshot worthy slide.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's a lot going on this slide. And so what I would say is I'm not going to talk about every single line item, every single bullet, because we would be here for the rest of the time and no one else would get to speak if we did that. But hopefully, I think the big takeaways again are that, we've continued to grow the teams. We've continued to add, new engineers, new product managers, new designers. And what that has allowed us to do is exactly what you're seeing on the screen. So over the last 3, 4 quarters, we've launched more features than I think we've ever launched before. More features, more fixes, more enhancements, right? And again, hopefully, U.S. customers are all really feeling that, and so that's going to continue into next year as we look at that Q1 to Q2 bucket on that right column. And so, just to highlight a few of the things here in the last quarter, I mean, obviously, Jobs was a big release for us. We've just launched surcharging. In the past few weeks, we've launched some updates to the way that we can accommodate for costs and product markup pricing. Zapier is in beta right now, so if you're interested in that beta, we can plug you in with Julia, the product manager, or Brian here to make sure that you can get access to that. And then just recently, we've launched instant payouts and suspended customer automation is coming soon as well. And so,
It's live. It's live
it's
today.
live. It's
Yep.
live. Sorry, correct me. And so again, Nikki's going to dive into a lot of the things that we've recently released. We'll also talk more about some of the upcoming initiatives coming into Q1. But I know some of the things that we're very excited about, advanced user permissions. That's something that customers have talked to me. I've spent a lot of time talking to customers about, and so we'll have a new way of creating roles, more detailed permissions, so that within your organization you can make sure that only certain folks in certain roles can see certain aspects of your data or in your customer data. We're looking at, Andrew Menard, who's the other Andrew on our team, is launching new reports and taking a lot of feedback on what is the data that's most important for you to run your business and making sure that we're making sure putting that into the product and making sure that those are new reports that are available. We have video coming out for on mobile and the ability to capture video. So a lot of really, really exciting changes, lots of exciting, again, new products, new enhancements, and we'll continue to invest in these key areas. And Nikki will go into detail about some of these things as well. And so I'd say, as another big takeaway about the roadmap is, again, the customer feedback is critical. And so us coming to you now and showing this slide is half the battle. The other half is making sure that if you have feedback, that we're actually listening to you and that we're capturing that feedback and allowing it to dictate the priority of things as we move forward and what, moving things, as Nikki said at the start of the call, moving things left, moving things right, putting new things on the roadmap that maybe we weren't tracking before, but customers are very interested in us making sure that we invest in. And so this is just the start of a long conversation that will continue into next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll say if something's not on the slide, don't panic. These are kind of the bigger bucket items. There are other things that we're working on, like, branch management for folks who have multiple locations. There are really small things in the product that are just quality of life improvements or navigational things or, app things that are just really small but make a big difference in your day-to-day workflow. So if you don't see something here, don't panic. Again, this is just a kind of a list of the bigger items. There's a whole bunch of really, really smaller things that we're going to be rolling out regularly and communicating to you as well.
Yeah, thank you for that, Nikki. Yeah, that's really important to understand is that just because you don't see it on the roadmap doesn't mean that we won't do it or that we're not going to do it. Some things, especially if they are smaller things, smaller enhancements that we can make, we will also fit in between. And so that we call those like customer delighters, these small little customer delighters that we can roll out that don't require as much effort or as much kind of, marketing effort or total effort as a roadmap initiative might require. Those things we'll also continue to work on. Yeah.
Yeah, and how we communicate those, give us feedback on that too. We try to put the in-app notifications for things that are relevant to people who are logging into Skimmer on the web. We are certainly always asking for people to take screenshots or, draw arrows or, give us information that's a little bit more detailed about why you want a certain feature or how you would like the feature to work. The better your feedback is, the better action we can take against that feedback. So feel free to call us to give that feedback. The best way to give us feedback is to email it to support@getskimmer.com. And just so everyone here knows, anytime someone submits a feature request and it gets logged, everyone in the company can see it. So, we're looking at a feed of feature requests and we've gotten thousands of them this year, right? But we're going through them, people comment on them, people talk about them, people discuss trade-offs about them. There's always this kind of inherent sort of desire to make sure that we're giving you all what you need.
That's right. And I see Suzanne in the chat. And so Suzanne has done an amazing job recently, kind of completely revamping our feature request system internally, aggregating all that feedback, making sure that we have clean and clear insights that are feeding into the product manager. So that way, again, even if it's not on the roadmap or a specific roadmap initiative, that we can still action on some of those feature requests that are coming in. And so if you're seeing Suzanne in the chat, I would absolutely engage with her because she can take care of anything that you'd want to submit and make sure that it's represented well in our plan. Yeah.
So let's talk about what's new on the truck. So let's talk about some of the things that we've launched this year that you may have missed. First, we took a lot of time this year to improve, especially the mobile experience, but also the web experience. So we know, and we're going to acknowledge that this was a little bit of a rocky year for mobile, especially during, I'll say, like, spring going into summer. And the reason why was because the underlying platform that we were using for mobile phones was reaching its end of life, which meant that we needed to basically rebuild and re-architect our app to get it on a newer version to be able to make sure that the new features that we're developing are compatible with newer phones and newer hardware and newer cameras and all the things and tech that's coming out with newer devices. And so this took literally months to do. We know, again, it was rocky. When we made the change, there were behaviors that surfaced that we had to work with people at Android, to fix. There were unexpected things that came up. And we are happy to say that it's been complete now for a couple months, and we hope your experience is a lot smoother. The other thing we did was we made a change to the way that we handle syncing on the mobile app. So we are aware that some of you were having issues where, admins are trying to close out stuff in the day, the office is trying to close things out, and they're missing stuff, right? And so, or, someone's halfway through their day and they didn't sync, so they didn't get some new information. So now there's a new process for syncing. At first, we were doing it before you open the app, but we realized that when you guys were taking your phones and you were seeing the little spinny thing on top of the blue screen, you thought that the app was broken. It really wasn't. It was actually syncing. So we moved that sync process and we gave you visibility into what's happening with these little text boxes here that say all changes saved or syncing. You can keep on working. And we are pushing more frequent syncs too, so that we can make sure that the field is very in sync with what's happening in the office. We launched our Lamont Spin Touch integration, which was super excited. If you haven't checked out the Lamont integration or used the Lamont device, they are amazing devices. They're NSF1 rated, which means they meet the highest standards for lab equipment, quality testing for water. And we now have the ability to bring any Lamont Spin Touch readings directly into the app in an instant. We've done some performance improvements that you're probably not going to see, but they're under the hood, all with the goal of making the app a little bit faster and more responsive while you're in the field. On the website, we've got new onboarding guides, which if you are not currently a Skimmer customer, if you become a Skimmer customer, this process is really designed to help you get started in the best way possible to make sure that you are very successful with Skimmer from the get-go. That includes things like importing your customers, making sure that you put your products and your pricing in there, making sure that you understand how the workflows work and you can set up some templates for your work orders. All of these things are designed to make sure that we can get you on the ground and running as quick as possible and with as little friction as possible. We've also made some layout and page upgrades and some navigational changes. We know that some back button errors were driving some of you all crazy, and we've tackled a lot of those as well. And then we've done a ton of live training events and workshops this year that we'll talk about here in a few. This was a big body of work. And if you do repairs, this is probably one of the more exciting things that may help you win jobs faster and give you the ability to win bigger jobs. So right now we have work orders. They are really great for services that are well defined that you can go out and do in a day. But what we were hearing from some of you is that you are doing more complex jobs. You're doing renovation work. You're doing pad resets that might take a couple days. You're doing green to cleans, which may not always be able to be done in one day. So we wanted to make it easier for all of you to be able to track a job from end to end over the course of multiple days and make price changes along the way and have that all roll up into one invoice. So that's what Jobs is. It starts with a quote, which you see on your left. When you create a quote, you now have the ability to take a deposit or get a card on file at the time that the quote is approved. You have quote statuses so you can see where the quote is if it hasn't been approved yet. And you're in the office, you can pull up a list of all of your unapproved quotes and send out reminders. We can do automated reminders, or you can take action and go, okay, these are the 5 that haven't made it through yet. I need to pick up the phone and call these people and see if they want us to do this work or not. We also added the ability for you to attach images, videos, PDFs to quotes. So if you have brochures from your product manufacturers that have stats in them that you want to share, or videos of a sound that a pump is making, anything that is visual is usually good for helping your customer understand the real problem, especially if it's showing a leak, or if it sounds terrible. So these are just easy ways to be able to give your customers some background so that they feel like they're making an informed decision. Then we have invoices. So we've got a lot of new cool stuff on invoicing. When it comes to jobs, it tracks that end-to-end work. So if there's changes within that work, or parts or equipment needs to be added or changed, it's tracking all of that within the job so that you have one clean invoice to send to your customer. And you can send them staged invoices. So if you want to do a project in phases, you can do that. And then you can track all of that all inside of Skimmer in a very, very easy to navigate view. Scheduling and dispatch management was another big one that we worked on. When we first worked on this, we had a weekly view, and then we heard from some of you that you wanted a daily view. But what this is it is a way for you to be able to visually manage your schedules. At the top there, and this is available, I think, on our scaling up tier. Some of you, if you're not on getting started, if you move to scaling up, you'll see this. But all of these boxes here can pretty much be dragged and dropped. At the top, you've got your filters that you can filter by day, or you can filter by week. You can filter by tech. You've got the full schedule there on the right. You can also move those around if you want to reorder the route stops for tech for a given day. And as you work throughout the day, you'll see a progress bar that shows a line that cuts through the screen vertically, that shows you where you're at in your day. So if somebody calls in and they need something and it's really important and you need to tackle it that day, you can see who might have space or move things around very, very easily. On the bottom left there, you'll also see all the work that has been scoped, but it isn't scheduled yet. So these are things like your work orders, maybe there's filter cleans that are on there. And all you have to do is take that filter clean and drag it and drop it to wherever you want it to go, and put it in whatever order you want it to be in. So this is, again, just a better, easier way and a visual way to be able to schedule work and manage all your routes and techs in the field. Next, there are just some new features to help you get paid faster. We talked a little bit about deposit handling, and we know that was a little painful because you had to issue credits, and it was a little bit painful on the back end for those of you working with QBO, but we've fixed all of that. Now you can send invoices via text, which was a huge request, and we've definitely seen that it's helping you all get paid faster. We've got credit card surcharging for those of you in states that allow credit card surcharging. That's automatic. Obviously, you can always roll that cost of doing business into your price, but if you don't want to do that, or if you're in price sensitive markets and you want the customer to pay for that credit card surcharge, you can now pass that on. And then now we have instant payouts as well, which we'll talk about here in a second. We also have made some improvements to customer workflows. So quote reminders is a good one, right? You get to set the parameters on how you want to remind your customers that you have quotes that are outstanding, and how often you want to do that, and how many times you want to do that. And then we also have past due status automation too, or a suspended customer feature that just launched as well. I have a slide on that, and I'll show you that in a second. Deeper insight. So there's some cool things with reports. If for those of you who have not been into reports recently, obviously Skimmer collects a ton of data. And for a long time, our reports have been somewhat limited. And what we heard from some of you is that you want to be able to see charts and see graphs and filter or hide or add new data into these different reports and customize them to fit exactly what you're looking for. So we now have a ton of new report upgrades with visualizations. It's all built on a brand new platform. And don't worry, your old reports are still there. So if you need help getting to the old reports, they're still there. But from the feedback that we've heard, this is going to be a much, much bigger platform moving forward. It also gives you the capabilities to export in the format of your choice, which is great. We've got better profit and cost insights for especially for labor and dosages. We've got a new report that'll show you which of your customers have adopted the customer portal, which if you're not using the customer portal, you should check it out. It's awesome. And then moving into data access, the export formats. If you want a PDF or a CSV or an Excel file, you can kind of move that into whatever way that you want, in a format that you want. In a even when you export it, you can even have it as landscape or vertically on a page. So a lot of search capabilities, a lot of filtering, and you can also schedule those reports and set search conditions. So you can say, if a pool is not profitable, please email me or send me a report on that, and it'll automatically send you an email. Brian's going to talk about connected tools with the public API and Zapier integration, so I'll save that for him. Next day payouts. So this is something we launched. I think it was early this year. It may have been like March. But basically, what this is if your customer pays by a certain threshold, you're going to get paid the next business day, right? And a lot of people ask questions about what does that exactly mean? So if you send out, in this example, if you make an online payment at 8 p.m. on April 30th, right? And Central Time, if you look at the cutoff time, right now during November to March at 6 p.m. So an online payment is made after the cutoff time. That means that the next day is the day that it will transact, and then you'll get paid out the following day. What this means for y'all is if you want to get paid the next day and you have your customers on auto pay, especially, that you need to do your invoicing before those cutoff times, which is 6 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Mountain, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. If you are in a situation where, let's say, you need a bill and it happens on a Thursday or a Friday, and you're heading into the weekend, and you need to make payroll or you need to buy equipment, we now have instant payouts. So this is something that just launched earlier this week. We haven't done a full core launch for it yet, but if you are using our billing platform, you will now see this instant payouts box displayed on the front of your screen. And this just gives you the ability to be able to borrow against any of the funds that haven't finished processing yet. So there is a 1% fee, which is actually quite reasonable, especially compared to QBO and some other payment systems. So if you need access to money quickly to do whatever, make payroll, whatever, take your wife out to dinner, whatever it is, you can get access to that money instantly within minutes to your bank account for a very, very, very small fee. This is available today. It just launched. We heard from a lot of you that sometimes you have customers that don't pay. And when that happens, you have to remove them off the schedule, and then it messes up all their scheduling, and then all of a sudden they pay, and then you have to reschedule them, and that's kind of a pain in the butt. So now we have an automated way to be able to handle customers who aren't paying. Inside of your settings, down in invoice settings, you now have this section called overdue invoices. And what this will do is it will suspend automatically a customer based on the criteria that you set. So you can say suspend service for customers with invoices that are 7 days past due, a month past due, 15 days past due. You can also opt to have our system automatically send them an email to let them know that they're past due and that their route is going to be skipped until they pay up. And you can customize exactly what that email is going to look like. When the tech goes into the app, or if you are out running routes, go into the app, you'll see now that Miss Wanda Maximoff, I don't know where that name came from, Miss Wanda Maximoff is suspended. And that means that it's just automatically going to skip that stop in the mobile experience. If you want to, you can decide to service Miss Wanda anyway. Maybe she's just in a situation where she's been out of town, or maybe her dog died and you feel kind of bad. You want to go ahead and service her pull anyway. You can unskip the route and you can complete it as normal. So this is just a way for you, basically via web and via mobile, to be able to set up rules that will make sure that you're not out there working for free. Lisa says she doesn't see it on her invoice settings yet. Uh, Lisa, I will follow up with you after this. All right. Without further ado, we're actually doing pretty good on time. I'm going to turn it over to Brian here to talk to y'all about something that's exciting around API and integrations. And before I do that, I will say, we were out on a roadshow and there were people like, I would never ever care to integrate Skimmer with anything else. If that's not you, great. But I do think as this industry matures and as more tools become available and as tech becomes more popular in our space, that there's going to be a time where you might want to take advantage of those integrations. And so we are getting out in front of this and making sure that we have a really good API and integration strategy so that we can serve you both in the near term and in the longer term as well. So Brian, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, just to continue to follow up on that thread, we have invested in a team to build out more capabilities for integrations. So both internal and then external with partners. And really, as Nikki described, it's to help you guys be more efficient in your business. We recognize that Skimmer may not be the end all be all for every piece of your business yet. We're continuing to build more features, as Andrew talked about. So we have customers that might be using a CRM like High Level, for example, and really managing a very automated lead flow. We want to find some ways to make that exchange with Skimmer seamless and automated and much more efficient. So that's just a simple example here of some of the connections that we're enabling for our customers. So I'm going to walk through what we're building, the capabilities that it will unlock, and what's going to be available both in the short term and longer term. Let's jump to the next one. So for those that aren't available, we have APIs out there. They were launched earlier this year. I think one of the big things we've been doing is adding and researching what endpoints would be more helpful for our customers. So we have a great start. You see the website there. It is public. You guys are welcome to go and take a look. The endpoints are listed up there on the right. We have been lacking on a couple of them, and we've heard that from you guys. So we have launched ones recently, and we're continuing to work on a bunch more. So that blue box though, on the lower right, we just launched a new invoice API. We're working on the ability to have a work order created to schedule a route from an external system, being able to understand more about inventory, what items were installed, a webhook, which is an automatic trigger as soon as something happens around, say, a service stop when a service is complete. And so we have a lot of interesting use cases that our customers have talked to us about. So just know that one, we have APIs available for those that are interested in more automation and connecting systems to Skimmer. And two, we're building more and more endpoints, and we're going to make these connections easy on a bunch of different levels, which I'll talk about here in a minute. Let's go to the next one. So at the top of our sort of integration inventory here is all of these APIs that we talked about and these new webhooks. So we're going to continue to expand those. So as Andrew mentioned on the lower left here, we have a beta actually live right now with Zapier. And for those that aren't familiar with Zapier, it's effectively a very simple way to get at our APIs in a pre-constructed sort of no-code model. So if you don't have a lot of IT support, but you have a little bit of technical aptitude, this is a very straightforward way to connect things together. So we're testing Zaps to connect into High Level as a good example. So if you have a lead flow to capture, leads for new customers coming in, we're going to get those customers, entered into Skimmer without having to manually do it or manually upload that data. Eventually, again, being able to schedule a work order and a route for someone to go out and perhaps confirm that new customer. So again, Zapier is out there in beta, limited capacity right now. We're kicking the tires on it, and that will be exposed to the rest of our APIs as well. We have integrations that we've built into the system. We've already talked about a couple of them here today. QuickBooks has been there for quite some time. We have our Renda calculator. We launched the Lamont integration. We are right now working with Heritage to integrate Heritage's product catalog and eventually the ability to order right from Heritage Pool Plus right out of Skimmer. So you're going to be able to do more things in one place. So a lot of both, API support for custom workflows and unique workflows, but also dedicated integrations that this team is going to support as well. So Heritage, the product catalog, is going to be launching in Q1. We'll have more to share with you here shortly. Syncing pricing, and I'll get into a little bit more detail on that nightly, and just getting that product catalog that the purchases that you make on a regular basis automatically into Skimmer. And then lastly, we're working towards what we'll call a partner marketplace, by exposing all of our APIs and endpoints, we're going to let other software build into Skimmer. and they will build and promote solutions as well. So we're excited to sort of open up this ecosystem, all in the name of making your business more effective. Let's go to the next one. I won't go through all these. I just want to give you guys a little bit of a peek here of all the use cases and software that we hear about. So again, with Skimmer sort of being at the middle of this, both with things like Zapier and other API connections, we want to bring more and more data connections into to Skimmer, so you can do more from one place instead of having to contract with multiple software providers and tab between those. Just basically having Skimmer be a centralized hub. And where we can't have that function natively in Skimmer, we'll do a data exchange in. So we mentioned the connection into Heritage up there on the upper left. We'll be doing that work. CRM connections, which we talked about, like High Level or HubSpot or Zoho or Nutshell. A lot of finance and accounting. If you're not on QuickBooks, which we have a native integration, maybe people are using Sage or NetSuite or Acumatica with an ERP that's also doing finance. We're going to be able to share more data back and forth between those systems. Other operational things like route optimization, fleet management, short-term rental work orders we've heard as an interesting use case when someone kind of checks out of an Airbnb and they need their spa cleaned right away before the next guest checks in, instead of having that to be a manual sort of phone call, have that automatically create a work order from the short-term rental system. So just a fun example of how this efficiency can happen. On the right side, we're having a lot of great conversations with the manufacturers, whether that be connected tech devices or other sort of warranty workflows, marketing and promotional campaigns. We're just going to have Skimmer be a much bigger connected part all the way up to the manufacturers. Connected pool tech, if you guys are, getting alerts from, either a connected sensor for chems or a pump sensor. Poolside Tech is a good example of a third party, right, for connected Internet of Things data coming through. Instead of having to go and get that data from a bunch of different apps, we want you to log into Skimmer and see it all. So across all of your pools, you're getting these alerts that are going to be coming in automatically to make your business, again, much more proactive. So just a lot here to talk through. So hopefully you guys can feel some of that excitement. We would love to hear from you on use cases. I saw, a couple of particular things get mentioned, DBX and others. We got a lot of conversations happening about what we can do with this ecosystem. So would be great. Last, I'll just go into a little bit more detail on Heritage. I mentioned it at a high level. We're bringing Heritage Pool Plus. If you guys shop with Heritage today, you have your product catalog, you have your pricing, you have your approved branches, you have your sort of frequently purchased products in that e-commerce motion in Heritage Pool Plus. It's all going to be exposed to you in Skimmer. So again, one centralized place to do more. So starting with Heritage and a couple of slides here with a little more detail so we can go to the next one. Bringing in the product catalog, tracking those costs that you have with Heritage and this particular branch level down into Skimmer. So we've done a big revamp of our product catalog for those that use it, and the ability to now track cost in there to be able to add a fixed margin sort of upsell on what you're going to add on top, being able to sort of hide some of the products that you don't really use anymore. So this is going to be great. I see some comments about Pool Core. We're starting with Heritage. We will absolutely be supporting other distributors as well. Heritage was the first one to partner with us on this, so we're excited to launch this, and you'll see more. Next slide. Again, what we're going to then eventually move towards is the ability to place orders right in Skimmer. So getting availability real time refresh of product pricing, build a cart, place an order, just like you might do if you're a Heritage customer today. For those that are not Heritage customers, you likely have a similar workflow online in other distributors. Again, you're going to see all that coming into Skimmer as well. And if you're not a Heritage customer and you're interested in looking at it and be getting approved, we have a workflow to get you over to them and get you set up with pricing as well.
And so,
So
yeah,
lastly,
I just want to clarify too. So there's two pieces to this Skimmer and Heritage integration. The first piece is bringing the product catalog in that he talked about on the last one. The second piece is being able to order online. The first piece that we're working on for the first half of next year is going to be the product catalog. This piece of it with the online ordering obviously is a much larger lift, and that may not make the first half of next year. So just want to set expectations there.
Yep, absolutely. Looking at Q3, maybe Q2 if we get really aggressive, but Q1, we're going to be rolling out the product catalog sync. But just to kind of sum it up here on the last slide, this is just,
Oh.
that was the last slide. Sum it up again, we're trying to do to do more within Skimmer, but play nicely with other systems that you might have key workflows that aren't in Skimmer yet. So again, we're looking forward to delivering more value to you and making Skimmer a bigger part of your ecosystem. Again, playing nicely with other pieces of software and just ramping up everyone's efficiency. So looking forward to sharing more with you guys as we launch.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Very, very active chat going on right now. It seems like there's a lot of excitement around this topic. So let's get into what everyone's been waiting for, Skimmer sneak peeks. So I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming. This is probably one of the ones that we hear about the most. Very soon, you will be able to send a quote from mobile. This is going to be definitely probably an earlier part of Q1 that will have this out and available to you. So the cool part about this, and this kind of ties into something else that we're going to talk about, which is permissions, is that not only will you be able to create a quote while you're in the field, not only will you be able to have your customer pay for something on site, not only will you be able to eventually have a video that you can attach to this, but there's also an option that allows you to have your text create a quote in the field, but send it to the office first before it's actually sent to the customer. So putting in kind of just one more layer of check in there. So we've been really thoughtful. We've been working with a lot of customers on this, getting feedback, running through all kinds of different scenarios, and we're pretty confident that this is going to be a game changer for a lot of you. We know, especially if you're an owner operator, if you're a smaller outfit, it's just easier for you to get that quote out the door while you're there, while you're thinking about it, while you can take a video or pictures and attach it and get it sent out to get it approved. So we want to make that easier. We want you to win more business, and we want you to close more deals and earn more revenue. So this is one way that we are going to help with that endeavor. Advanced user permissions. Andrew mentioned this. I just mentioned it. This is a really, really cool feature, and it's one that a lot of you have asked for. We know that there are people in your company that you may not want to see everything that's inside of your records, or maybe you don't want to give them ability to delete things, or maybe you don't want to show them certain contact information or pricing. So now we will have, and this is just this is what's in our testing environment. These standard roles can change, but now we'll have some standard roles that will have what we think are good kind of default permissions. If those don't work for you, you can create a custom role by cloning one of the standard roles and making further changes. And you can do as many custom roles as you want. So there are probably, I think last time I checked, 66 different toggles and categories where you could give someone access or remove access to a certain feature or setting or capability inside of Skimmer. And you'll get to basically get really, really dialed in access so that people in your company only see what they really need to see. Next up, we talked a little bit about enhanced data and reporting. Again, this is really geared for those of you who are really getting to your numbers. And if you're not getting your numbers, you should. We have, again, just an enormous amount of data that is collected inside of Skimmer, both around your techs, around profitability, around costs, around dosaging, around kind of everything that that you can think of under the sun. And our goal with this is to make it easier to give you that information summed up in a digestible way so that you can make informed business decisions. So, if you're looking at, profitable customers or unprofitable customers, you can look at profit by tech. You can look at tech summaries. This is really just designed to give you a way to go in and be able to customize what you're looking at, select different toggles at the top and filter for what you need to look for so you get answers to what you need, and then set up those reports on a recurring basis so they're emailed to you on a regular basis. This is another exciting one that we'll be launching soon, lead acquisition and customer lifecycle management. Brian kind of alluded to this in terms of being able to, let's say, have your customer fill out a form on a website, or, complete an ad form on, a social platform, and have that automatically pop into Skimmer so you can see it all in one place. So you'll see here, this is your typical customer page, but we've added this new status column that will give you an indication of where that person is in their customer lifecycle journey, whether they are a former customer, whether they're a bad customer, whether they're a lead, whether they're active. You get to tag those, and then you can track different actions across all of those. This is really important because, as we start working with other systems, especially CRM systems, as many of you start going out and doing digital marketing, we want to reduce the amount of work that you have to do. We can envision in the very near future that you might have a website page that's an intake form that you send a link to your customer. Once they agree to service, they fill it out, boom, all that information's inside of Skimmer. You can go ahead and schedule them without even typing in any information. That's what we're trying to get to here. It's basically just kind of a CRM light and bringing some more of those CRM capabilities in here so that you can report on them and you can track them and that you can take action against different types of customers depending on where they're at with you. And this is kind of a preview, and this is kind of a neat one, but we are also working on an AI phone agent. So we know that there are many of you out there that answer the phone or try not to answer the phone, but maybe get, text messages in the evenings, or you get a call during the day and somebody wants something or wants a quote for service, but you're busy and you didn't get to it. And by that time they've talked to someone else. The AI phone agent is going to do two things. One, it's going to be able to capture leads, and two, it's going to be able to allow you to enjoy your time off. So we are training a model right now that will basically be a intake agent that can answer very basic questions about your company, collect customer information, let folks know that we're going to give you a call back and that you have what you needed. And as time progresses, this AI phone agent is going to get more and more advanced. So this is just another way of trying to help some of you based on some of the feedback that we've received. We know some of you are already looking at AI phone agents. We know some of you may not like phone AI agents, but I think they're coming. I think they're happening in every other industry, and I think it's a matter of time before they become commonplace in our industry as well. So just know that this is something that we're working on, and we hope to have a beta available. If any of you are interested, let us know, and we can get you in that beta happening in the next few months. And this is also an exciting one. This might be my last one. So very, very soon, we will be launching customer financing. Now, what is customer financing? It's a way to give your customers an option to pay over time. If you've ever used any online ordering platform, you might see like Klarna or Affirm or one of those companies where you can say, okay, yeah, I want to do this and I'll buy it, but I need to pay over time. We know, especially during the holidays and with the economy the way that it is, that it can be a struggle for people to be able to approve repairs, especially if they're sizable repairs. And so we want to make it easier for you to be able to get a customer the service that they need while reducing your risk. So what happens in consumer financing is when a customer goes to pay their invoice, they'll see this option here that says, hey, do you want to pay over time? This will be available too when you send out a quote on doing a job as well. But they can opt in to do that. And once they do that, you're going to get paid for the work right away. But we're basically going to collect that from them on the back end over time. And I think from the specs I saw, I don't know if this will be the final cut, but they'll have like between, I think it's like 3 and 16 months or something, or maybe 18 months to pay. So if you've got people with big repairs, great. This also should give you the ability to go and win business if somebody is tight on cash but needs a repair, because they may not be able to get this option with somebody else, right? So if you're going out and you're doing repair and you can offer them a flexible payment option, that might be the difference between you winning the deal. So stay tuned for more on this. It'll be coming out in very early Q1. These are actually screens from our testing environment, and it's moving along quite nicely and just about on the precipice of launch. So stay tuned for that. The max a customer can finance. I don't know the answer to that question. I will have more information on that soon, but I know it's not a hard credit check, and it will depend on their credit worthiness via a soft credit check. But I think there will be some limits on this. Hopefully those limits are flexible enough to accommodate most of what you want to do. From what I've seen, it looks like it should. No problem. All right. And finally, as we wrap into the tail end of this, look, we want to give you more than just software. I talked a little bit about this at the beginning. We're investing underneath the hood as well. And that means having a support chat bot We are not getting rid of our our customer success reps and our support team, our support heroes. But if you have just a quick question or you need a refresher on something and you don't want to call and you don't feel like emailing, in the bottom left-hand side of your web portal, you should see this little icon. And if you click on that icon, you can get a really quick answer to a question. We've been training this model for months and months and months and months. We baited it with a bunch of people for like another few months. And so our support team has been furiously working to make sure that this is reliable before we put it out live. If you have a question, sometimes it'll just link you to the article that'll show you how to answer it, or it'll give you an answer right within the chatbot window. And this, again, is not meant to replace what you're already used to and how you get support from us today, but just give you another way to get support that's quick and easy. In addition to support, we were on the road quite a bit this year. And I saw some names on here that I got to meet in real life. And hello to you folks, and thanks for coming out. But we did this awesome road show where we went to 5 different cities all across the country for a half day of fun and training. And it started off with our success reps coming in, giving people best practices, showing them how our new jobs feature worked, being able to take questions and walk people through different scenarios and different workflows. But it was also an opportunity for people to get together and learn from each other, which is sometimes a lot more valuable than the training that we can give you. And so we're going to be doing a lot more of this in the future. We already are planning another roadshow for 2026. It was good fun. We had a blast. It was just an absolute blast getting to see so many of you out there on the road. And if there is a city that you want us to hit in our next roadshow, definitely let us know. And then to top all that off, right after the roadshow, we had our Pro Summit in November. So this was our, I believe, our second Pro Summit. We did our last one in Austin last year, but we basically have a full day of programming, and it is training, it's business coaches, motivational speakers, owner roundtables where all the people that attend get to go and sit with people who are have very similar businesses where they work through some of their business challenges, leadership training, and of course, lots of fun and networking and food and beverage as well. Justine and my team does such a fabulous job creating amazing experiences out there for some of you. And the Pro Summit is just one example. I mean, it is a really, really great opportunity. There was 100% rating on this event and 5 out of 5 stars. So if you get a chance to attend our conference, and I hope you will, come next year, because next year we're going to do our first national conference. And so we'll be sending out a save the date sometime in early spring. Again, just a really, really great way to be able to network, learn, and really with the hopes of taking, pool industry, rising up pool professionals and getting them professionalized and being able to charge the rates that you want and run great businesses. That's the goal of this, aside from fun. And then there's resources. So I just read a draft this morning of the 2026 State of Pool Service Report, and it is amazing. That will be coming out in January. But in addition to that annual report that we do, we have a ton of really, really great resources to help you grow, and we're constantly adding new ones. We've been working with a gentleman by the name of Casey Graham. He's a serial entrepreneur and co-founder of Yummy Pools, which grew to an incredible size before it was acquired by a PE firm. And he is a fantastic motivational speaker. He's talked to literally hundreds, maybe thousands at this point, of pool professionals, and wrote a series on how to grow your pool service business depending on what stage that you're at. And that's what that skimming and scaling ebook is all about. It's also available as an audiobook on your favorite podcasting platforms. So check that out if you haven't. Again, these resources are free. We want to help you grow. We want to help you be successful. If there's a topic that you'd like us to cover or something that you want to know more about, let us know. Shoot a message over to support or email marketing@getskimmer.com. We are always open to finding experts and giving you value through our webinar programming, our resource and our content and our guides and our ebooks, etc. And then there's the pool deck too. Join the pool deck. The pool deck's awesome. It's a great way to stay afloat with or stay abreast of new features. We have a really great community of people in the pool deck. And it's not only do you get to like read about the features, but you get to see the discussions and participate in discussions about those features as well. So it's a really, really great place to learn. It's a really great place to connect with other people across the country and in your specific area, because there are regional groups inside of there. But we're posting our new feature updates in the pool deck via the blog, and also sending them to you via email every month in a newsletter. And thank you, Abby, for just joining the pool deck. That's a lot. I'd like to open it up to any questions, and it looks like we already have one about integrations with QuickBooks. Do you integrate with QB Enterprise Desktop? We do not. We only integrate with QBO, and that has a lot to do with QBO's side and the APIs that are offered. Suzanne, do we have any other questions for our presenters here that might be great to answer live?
Everything has been answered in the chat, but I'm trying to think if there's anything worth raising.
Yeah, thanks to my team for being active in that chat. I see a bunch of you in there answering a lot of questions, so thank you for that.
If we missed your question, because the chat is a little bit less, it's a little more free flow than the Q&A, please feel free to post it again or post it in the Q&A. Or if you didn't get a satisfactory answer, of course, reach out to us after, support@getskimmer.com, as my colleagues are writing. Lots of ways to reach us.
Yeah, and by the way, our support, just so y'all know, is available to your techs as well. So save our support number, share it with your techs, and if they're having a skimmer problem, have them call us directly. A lot of times it's actually easier for them to call us because we can troubleshoot on their device that they're using, especially if it's a mobile app issue. When will you consider supporting customer scheduling online? I'm not quite sure I understand your question, Rudy. If you want to be a little bit more explicit. It looks like we did answer most of these. So if you still have questions for us, please feel free to email support or respond to the email that we're going to send out tomorrow. I'll get all of your replies and I can triage them and send them to the right people. Again, I want to thank you, Andrew and Brian, for joining me. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for taking the time out in your busy day to join us. We hope you are as excited as we are about 2026. And with that, we'll say goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.